Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to another session of Not Perfect Zen. This is part two of the Valentine tile, and I have done this tile in my sketchbook, but I want to show you some other things first. This was part one, and I used Undling, which is very close to Cuddles, which should have been Cuddles, but we couldn't find a name for who deconstructed that pattern. I still used it on this side, but I just called it a tangulation of the pattern Undling by Susie Achter. And then on the bottom part of this tile, we did Zuan Shi, which in Chinese means diamonds, and that's by J.J. La Barbera, sorry. So the other part that I mentioned before was that we were also going to use the Take Heart string and pattern by Cherryl Moote and the pattern Vivid by Ina Sonnenmoser. Now the step out for this one is only on Pinterest, but it's really easy. So if you just follow what I'm doing, you'll be able to do it. Okay, so we're going to be using a Micron 01, a graphite pencil, a blending stump, and probably an eraser. Okay, and I'm going to start by explaining the Take Heart string, and I'm going to do that on just a scrap piece of paper just to show you and tell you a little bit about it. Take Heart was created by Cherryl Moote, and she did this for another CZT, Kelly Barone, at a time when her son became ill, and a lot of us tried to do what we could to help. And one of the things that Cherryl did was this string. And so, like I say, I'm going to show you first how to do this string. And when I did it on my other tile, and I'll show you that after this, I used a pencil because I wanted my heart to look right. And so I tend to do better if I'll do the left side because I'm right-handed. I do the left side first, and then it's a little bit easier for me to mirror that and do the right side. Okay. I'm surprised that came out pretty good. If you want to fix that a little bit, you can. Okay. So in the step out for this, Cherryl says, draw your heart. So that's step one. And I'm going to go ahead and go over that in pen. Okay. Always turn your tile to make it easier on your hand. Okay, so that's step one, is draw your heart. And then number two is you discover a hole. So we're going to draw an orb in the center, and this is the hole in your heart for whatever is happening in your life. Number 3 is feel a friend, reach out with a hug. And this is the hug going around the hole in the heart. Okay. And then you feel number 4, another hug. So I'm just taking off from that orb and coming down to this point. So there's your second hug. And then another. And this one's going to come kind of around this way and over to the center again. So there we have the heart, the hole in our heart, and 3 hugs. This is the Take Heart string, okay? And she also shows in the step out how you can just fill this in. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to do an anchored aura, which means I'm going to start at that point, come out a little bit, and then come back up. Going back to this same point and start my next aura. And just keep coming down. And this is not what I'm doing for the heart today, okay? This is just showing you the heart string and how you could fill it in if you want to for another Valentine. Or just sending love to someone who needs it. Okay, so there's that part. In this section, we're going to do the same thing. Our aura is going to be anchored down here. And I'm going to start with a little bit like a little teardrop. And then we're just going to keep coming out from that and then aura it and bring it back down. Okay. Make these as big or as far apart as you want. Okay, let's add one more. All right. And you can consider each of these hugs in your heart. Excuse me. And then the last one is going to come from down here and come around and tie in up there. So whatever's easiest for you, turn your tile and start at the bottom, come around, aura that orb, and then come back down in to that center point. And then we're just going to continue. Very similar to what we did in that first section. Okay. Adding hugs. Just keep going until we fill in this section. Okay, I'm going to add just one more. Okay. Like I said, this one is just on scrap paper and just showing you, excuse me, how to do take heart and how you can fill it in with lots of hugs if you need it. All right. So for the actual tile today, I'm going to use an apprentice tile. And this is what I did in my scrapbook. Okay. And here's my notes on how to do take heart. But this is what I'm going to teach you today. Excuse me. And we have already done, in my previous video, I showed you how to do this part and how to do this one. And so I have already done that on another apprentice size tile, and I'm writing my strings on the back. So the string was take heart. I've done Zuan Shi, which is this one, and Clob by Jen Miller. And Clob is just very much like Cuddles, which is this one, and Undling, but it's just straight lines and all of the little auras go the same way. So you can see there's different ways to do that section if you want. And with this one, on this tile, I tied them all in at the bottom. Excuse me. So this is what we're going to do today. You already know how to do these sections. I just showed you how to do the string. And now we're going to do vivid. You could do this in a scrapbook or sketchbook, sorry. You could do it on a tile this size. You could do it on card, a larger size card if you want, or try it on a 3.5-inch tile, whatever works best for you. I also want to show you this one. I did this quite some time ago, and it's black, and then I used Moonlight Jelly Roll pens, and it looks a lot better in person, but very pretty and very easy to do. I'm going to start in pretty much the center of this section, and these are very much like flux. We're just going to put like a little teardrop shape, and we're going to put 3. You can put as many as you want, but I'm going to go ahead and go with 3 because that's how the pattern is taught. Okay, so we have our 3. And now we're going to R those. Turning your tile to keep your hand and your arm and your back, everything comfortable. All right, so now in these spaces, we're going to add another flux pattern. And then we're going to aura this again. Actually, I was supposed to have two auras there. I'm going to go ahead and fit this in. So I apologize for that. There should have been a second aura. If you didn't have room and you've already started following me, then don't worry about it. Okay, so two auras each time. So now we're going to go around this one. Remember, relax your shoulders, take nice deep breaths, and just enjoy one line at a time. Okay, so there's our first aura around these. We're going to go around again. I have really enjoyed doing these repetitive type things. They are very nice line meditation when you don't want to have to think. You just want to focus on drawing simple patterns. Okay, so now we have two auras there, and we're going to put the flux patterns again. I'm making these a little bit smaller. You can make them whatever size you want. We're going to assume that that one went behind. Okay, and here we go again with auras. I'm going to put two. If you're doing this for a certain person, you may be doing this for yourself. I know I have a little bit of a hole in my heart over some family situations lately. So as you do this, send love to yourself or love to another person who needs all these hugs and your thoughts. Doesn't have to be a Valentine heart. Okay, this aura is going to go behind this one too. All right, so we have one aura around that. We're going to go again. I'm trying to make these about the same distance, but if it doesn't work out that way, it doesn't matter. Turning your tile helps. Okay, so now we have two auras around each one of those. And now wherever these little dips are, we're going to put our little flux with teardrops again. We can make them a little bit smaller. And it doesn't matter if you make it curve in this direction or curve in that direction. Since I have two here, I'm going to have that one kind of go that way. And then this one come up a little in this direction. That one's going to touch the edge. And I think I'll just put a small one here. Same thing here. Okay, so you can see they're not all the same size. So I'm going to start here with my auras. There's one. Go ahead and put that there. Excuse me. Still getting over a little bit of cold, but doing much better. Okay, that one's going to stop at the border. We won't see much of that one. Ina Sonnenmoser, who did this pattern, had a website called Tangle. Now can't even remember. It was Pattern Collection. Patterncollection.com. But it is no longer there. So those who used that website a lot saved most of the patterns to Pinterest. If you're interested in knowing more, you can let me know. There were quite a few patterns there that I hated to see it go away. Okay, so over here, I just went ahead and put another little aura in there since we're not going to be able to fit anything else there. Okay, we're still on the second aura. Just taking your time going around. This one, we're just going to see a little bit of a V. And same thing here. Okay, so we have our second aura. And I'm going to go here and here and add a little flux again. We can fit another one here. We're not going to fit any in here, but we can turn it and maybe put some small ones here. Okay. So let's just focus right here on putting some more auras. Come down and around. And where we're running out of space, we'll just add the auras where we can. Okay, so here. And we're not going to put the little teardrops in here, so we'll just add one more aura. Okay, right in here, we'll just add that. Okay, so now we're going to focus on this part. Okay, this will be our second aura. Okay, and then we're going to add some more of these little flecks. We can put a small one here. And I think I won't put one there. And then we're going to put our auras. The first aura. And our second. And then we're going to put another flux or teardrop, whatever you want to call it. And our auras. Okay, let's just put one more little teardrop here. And then aura that. Okay. And one in there. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, so now we have what was in my sketchbook. And what we have on the apprentice tile, which is very close. And this gives you ideas of what you can do. For this one, we did hearts. And if you remember here, the actual pattern is diamond shape, but you can put whatever shape you want in there. And then this one, I did just hearts. And then on this one, I did hearts also, but I added a little bit of weighting on one side of the hearts. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to shade it. And you could go ahead on this and add whatever you'd like on the outside of the heart. We're just going to concentrate on this. Excuse me. So for this section, I'm going to put graphite on each side of the lines. And then also coming up on the border of the heart. Okay. Then we're going to take our blending stuff and soften these. And down here at the bottom, in this section, it's going to be mostly graphite. But as you come up, we want to stay close to that line and just soften it because we want to keep the white coming up the center. And that gives you the feeling that this is curved. Gives you a little bit of depth on each of these lines. And again, don't pull your graphite all the way to the center. We want to keep that white, except for down here at the very bottom. Okay. And after you have put this graphite on here, to give it even more depth, you can come back with your Micron and then just go down that line again to darken it. Because you lose a little bit of that nice black color when you put the graphite over it. So we're just going to add the black again, and it gives it even more depth. Okay. You can come along the outside too if you want. Okay. Now for these hearts, I've already added a little bit of weighting on one side. And this was also a suggestion from someone who watched the first video where we did these, and she put the graphite just on one side. And so I thought I would try that on this one and add the graphite on the same side where I added the weighting. And you don't need a lot. And then we're going to take our blending stump and just soften that a little bit. All right. Now for the vivid pattern, you can do it like this, where we just add a little bit of graphite. You could add color inside each one of these. If you wanted it to look more like flux, you could go ahead and put the lines and a couple of dots in there. For this, I'm just going to put a little bit of graphite at the bottom of each of these little teardrops. And you don't need much unless you want it really dark. You could even color these in black. I've seen it done that way, and that's pretty striking. All right. And then with your blending stump, we're just going to soften those, pull that out a little bit. Where it leaves the tip of it a little bit darker than the rest, or smooth it out evenly. Just kind of play with it. And then when you already have your graphite in these other two sections, just kind of be careful to not put your hand on that because it ends up kind of smearing. I might do this again for a Valentine card and use watercolor to add color to the card first. Okay. And then the other thing that you can do with the graphite that's already on your pen is where these lines meet, you can add just a little bit of graphite. Just gives that a little bit of depth also. I'm not adding anything else to my blending stump because there's plenty on there. It just gives it a little bit of a curve. Okay. In the center, we're going to add just a little gemstone, and I'm going to do it just with graphite. And I like to take my pencil and give it just a little bit of a highlight. Okay, that's just so I remember not to put my graphite there. And then up here at the top, I'm going to add a pretty good amount of graphite here. And then as I come around, I'm just going to put graphite on the edge of this orb. And this is a very easy way to do kind of a gemstone look. Okay, just very lightly right here. And then leave that open. And we're going to take our blending stump and just soften that. But don't take it into that little highlight. Just leave that open. And mostly focus up here at the top. And then just very lightly come down here and soften this. But we don't want to fill this in totally. Okay, we're just going to leave kind of an open spot down there at the bottom. Okay, so then it looks like a little gemstone. I am going to go around this orb again with my Micron 01 just to darken it. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and put graphite on the inside of this section. This will make it look a little bit recessed. And again, I would encourage you to just kind of play with it. I did this in my sketchbook first, and I happened to really like how it turned out. And I think I'll do something that I see Maria do quite often. Uh, I'm not going to put any other pattern out here. So I'm just going to come a little bit away from the original heart and just use my graphite to come around. You decide you don't like this, it can be erased. Or you could put the graphite right on the edge. Okay. And now we're going to take our blending stump and we're going to bring that away from the original heart and just soften it a little bit. Leave that white space in between. And it gives it kind of a gradient look out here, as long as you don't have a straight line. Soften it and pull it out. This could have been really pretty with kind of a pink or reddish pastel pencil. I might try that next time. All right, there we go. Again, on the back, I would encourage you to put the names of the patterns. Today, we did the string Take Heart by Cherryl Moote. And I had already put on there Zuan Shi and Claude. And now we've done Vivid by Ina Sonnenmoser. Don't forget to add your chop, sign and date the back, and add any other notes that you might want to remember about today. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this. If you happen to add your tile to social media, I would appreciate if you would tag me with either one of these or tag me in Facebook, because I really love seeing what you've done. And I especially love your comments. I appreciate everything that you say. All right, so there we go. Again, here's an idea with jelly rolls. This is the one that we did before. These are the patterns that we've used. Okay. And the tags. And here's my sketchbook again. Thanks again so much for joining me. I'll see you next time, hopefully soon this weekend. Have a great day, a great week. And thanks again for joining me. Bye.